Welcome back to another clay video. Today, we are going to create GingerBrave and a gingerbread house from Cookie Run Kindgom. It feels weird to be creating a winter-themed video in the middle of October, but there's an art contest going on DeviantArt to create something from Cookie Run Kindgom, and the grand prize is $3,000. So I decided on creating something from this game, even though it's very out of season. I'll leave a link in the description of this video if you're interested in checking out the contest for yourself. I never heard of Cookie Run Kindgom, so I downloaded the game to see what it's all about and figure out what I could create from this game. I've never really been into these kingdom building games. I've seen them before, but they just don't really interest me. So I decided to play it for about a half an hour, and the first thing they had me build in the tutorial was a gingerbread house. And the rules of the contest are to create a character from the game and some scenery, so I decided on the gingerbread house. As you saw, I used those paper templates to cut out the different pieces for the gingerbread house. And now we can use a toothbrush to add in some nice gingerbread texture. Using the knife, we need to cut out some windows on both of the sides and the front of the house. I'm actually not worrying about the details on the back of the house at all, since you're really not going to see it, so I don't think it really matters. Now we can use a little bit of a darker brown to create the door. We have some bright red in the center of it. After trimming that down, we can use the knife to create some wooden texture, some planks going across the door. The window on the door is sort of like a keyhole shape, which was a little bit complicated to make, but after a little bit of carving it out, I think it looks pretty good. I've also added a little bit more texture into the wood, into the individual planks. After finishing the door hole, we can make the doorknob and place our door onto the house. Again, with some more dark brown clay, we'll be creating some little wooden planks, I guess some logs that go across the front of the house. And also creating this little border that goes around it. I think these extra details just really make it stand out and not look as boring and bland. We need a nice lawn strip of an even darker brown, and this is going to highlight basically the bottom section of the entire house. It was a little tricky getting it in the edges of the door frame, but I think it looks better being on top of the door, rather than just on the flat part of the house. Now we have to do this 2 different times, but this is our first color spiral, and this will be for the posts that go on the corners of the house. And this is the other one, which will be for some extra little candy cane decoration. And we'll make sure to save a little bit of this for the candy cane that our main character is going to be holding. Now, taking some white clay that we'll be using as frosting, we can cover the edges of all of the windows on the house. A fun part about using this clay as the frosting is that if it's a little bit messy, it kind of looks better, since you would never perfectly frost a gingerbread house. After baking, we can start putting everything together using some super glue. It's going to be a lot easier to decorate the roof once it's actually on the house rather than laying flat on the table. Let's get the 2 roof pieces into place. And now we're going to need a lot of white clay for all of the different frosting details. First, we have this little border that goes around all of the edges of the roof. And I've pushed it down in random places to give the nice little frosting effect, like it's dripping over the edges. And we can do the same thing on the back side. I decided to thicken up the top part a little bit so it matches up with the other pieces better. And I gotta say, this is looking a lot better than any actual gingerbread house I've created. Usually they look like a disaster. Now for this little crisscross pattern on the house, which is, I feel like, pretty typical on a gingerbread house, I'm just using these little worms of clay. And I did the same thing on the other side. I didn't realize at first when I was decorating the door that it actually has some frosting on top of it as well. And for one extra little detail, I added some little frosting icicles dripping off the roof. Using 2 little balls of white clay, we can create these little drops for the top of the house. I'm thinking these are some type of frosting or cream. And now our house is ready to get baked. After baking, I'll take some more super glue to add on these extra little pieces for the corners. And with that final detail, our house is complete. So now it's time to work on our character. At first I wasn't sure which character I wanted to create, so I picked out 4 characters from a list that I thought looked pretty cool. But I decided on creating GingerBrave since he seems to be the mascot of this game series and sort of the main character. So I mixed together some orange and brown to get a little bit of a lighter color than the house. And we can cut him out the same we did with all of the pieces for the house. The picture I used, his arm sort of overlaps and goes onto his hip, but you can't tell this the way I had it cut out, so I had to trim out this little hole in the middle. And I think that looks a lot better, so let's move on to creating the face. First we have a layer of white for the eyes, and after we're done with all of the white details, we'll come back and add in the blue for the eyes. He has some pretty cool swoopy frosting hair. Instead of the usual candy or gumdrops that you see for the buttons on a gingerbread man, this one has some skulls. And since I haven't really played the game much, I don't know if this is something they explain in the game, but I thought it was kind of odd that he has skulls for buttons. Now we have the blue for the eyes, and a little bit of red for the mouth. Some of the pictures had GingerBrave with eyebrows, but I think that it didn't really look good when I was putting them on, so I just left that detail out. And now GingerBrave is ready to get baked. After baking, let's take some super glue to attach the candy cane. And that is our final detail. So here it is, GingerBrave and the Gingerbread House from Cookie Run Kindgom. I hope you all enjoyed the creation of this gingerbread house and GingerBrave. I will keep you updated if I happen to win anything in the contest. Let me know in the comments if you would like to see a much bigger gingerbread house sometime in the winter season. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.